just giving a demonstration here on flashscore.com.au, and what we have here is a website which gives live up-to-date scores that covers most major sports, as you can see here: AFL, rugby league, rugby union, cricket, football, tennis, basketball, golf. Pretty much even horse racing is listed here. This website's particularly useful because having up-to-date scores lets you know what position you are, what the odds are in relation to the sport you're looking at. So what I'm here to show you is a bit about how to use this to your advantage in making bets. So the other thing I need to cover actually before I get into this is by no means financial advice. I'm just merely showing you what I do myself and how to use some software to your advantage. So today we're looking at tennis. In this particular market, I've selected tennis. As you can see, there's an ATP tournament playing in Brisbane, and we're getting the up-to-date scores of these two players here. And it's quite useful because we can even see what the up-to-date odds are currently live if you were to bet on these two head-to-head markets. Now, what I really think would be useful is just to show you how to navigate around here first. So at the top, obviously, you've got all the sports that you can select. If they're not in the main list, the main sports, you can also look at a category of your choice. You can have the live games, finish games. I mean, this is esports, so it's not as going to be as common. So let's go to something super popular and super common, where there's always events going on. You can look at the live games of soccer right now, nothing. But you can look at the finish games, because usually they're playing in a different time zone to Australia, like Man City versus Liverpool, played early in the morning at 7 o'clock. Man City prevailed to win after a tie in the second half. And what's really good about this website is you can save selections. So say there's a game tomorrow. There's a lot of events for football on Saturday. Not unfinished. We want to go to all games to choose from. That's why the weekend, I believe, is the ideal time to bet on sports, because otherwise you've got minor things, with the exception of a few games that are going. There's mainly the weekend to look forward to when it comes to betting on sporting events. You've got the FA Cup, A-League games as well. English Premier League, of course, is very popular. Probably best not to touch the under 23, under 18. It's less consistent. You want to go for a sport that has consistent results, predictable results, where you can get an edge, and that's something else I'll try and cover in this short presentation. So me personally, I find that predicting soccer matches, like especially A-League, is very difficult. But if I were to predict a game, this is how I'd go about it. As I said, I'll try and do a prediction here for soccer, but I'll go into games where I've actually had a high degree of prediction success, in that I've narrowed down specific requirements that I have personally, what I want to see in a team to be comfortable placing a bet on a market where I think it's good value. So as you can see, we've got Adelaide United versus Wellington Phoenix, and this game is going to play tomorrow afternoon at 5:35 p.m. What I'm looking for here, the first thing when I look at a game is I look at their history. So last game, Adelaide beat the Newcastle Jets, but other than that, this isn't great form. We can even expand it. It's looking a little bit better when you look at the overall picture. 3 losses, 2 draws, 5 wins. Wellington Phoenix, on the other hand, if you look at just the first 5, that looks pretty good. But when you expand it, It's four wins, 3 draws, 3 losses, so it's not as good. Next thing I do is I look at the standing. Really close together, Adelaide and United, so it's anybody's game. All right, then I look at how do they play at home. Wellington Phoenix plays better at home, so that means that, and Adelaide does pretty average. Phoenix doesn't play as well away, and Adelaide does, which means nothing for this game because it's in reverse. If you look at the history, I look back. I don't look too far back. I don't worry about 2014. I just focus on the most recent years. Adelaide has prevailed, and otherwise they've drawn 3 times. So if you were to bet draw or win for Adelaide, that could be a decent bet. I would say Adelaide has a realistic chance of winning in this game, and if I were to bet, I'd bet on Adelaide. Not just because they're the favourite. If I had the same sort of results reverse, I would bet on Wellington Phoenix. And keep in mind, these odds have been formulated based on similar criteria. But when I make a judgment on which team's going to win, I think about what the odds are, if it's worthwhile, if it's paying under what the actual bet has, the odds of it winning versus of it actually happening. So football is I don't think I've got the right formulas for football, but for rugby union, I feel like I'm more consistent in making a prediction. So look at this game, for example. 6:45 in the morning. England's going to be playing a premier match. It's the Sale Sharks versus Sarkens. Sarkens, if I pronounced that right. What we have here is their history. As I said, Sarkens are looking very good. They've only lost 1 match against the Chiefs and drew last time. At this, well, the Sarkens actually have a very good history, but the fact is, with the draw, usually you can bet without the draw, which means it's you neither lose or you don't win anything. So you got to be sure that the odds exclude the draw when you're betting this, because that could be probably less excluding draw. I feel comfortable putting a bet down for the Sarkens to win based upon this criteria, because if you look at it, probability of winning. I say that because historically speaking, 6 times of the most recent matches, they've won 3 times and only drawn 2 times and lost once. With a draw, if you exclude the draw, you neither win nor you lose. So at least you get your money back. There's a 1 in 6 chance, in my mind, that you're going to be losing your money. So in this bet, that's 1 match. Another match to consider is the Executor Chiefs Bristol match. They're $1.07. Now, is that worth you betting on? Executive Chiefs haven't lost a game against Bristol. They've come close, which is a little bit of a concern. You look at the standing, they're on top of the game. They're in the bottom of the game, the opposition. I mean, overall, yes, this isn't great to have lost 3 matches, but who was it against? Were they even favourites against them? Probably yes, but they lost. Maybe. Well, that's a bit of a concern. So, historically, that's very strong. But given their record, that may even make me not want to bet on them. I'd probably exclude that because $1.07 isn't worth the risk. Leicester Tigers versus Gloucester. Recently, Gloucester's won both games. You can always sometimes exclude this data down here. Leicester Tigers is in a really bad losing streak. They're awful. if you look at the standing, you'll see that Gloucester's even the top four to be promoted, maybe to finals, if that's how it works. So away, Leicester Tigers is bad. This is actually, in my opinion, this is a great bet to bet on Gloucester. So that's an example of how I would dissect a match. Just do one more for the basketball. NBA just seems to me very unpredictable. So I usually don't touch it, to be honest. The NBA games I look at are the international matches for international teams. And I'll go through, see if I can see one of these, like Europe. Even Spain. Is more predictable. So let's have a look at this match here. Real Canoe versus Bilbao. No data, don't touch it. Unpredictable. Okay. Any data? Yes, plenty of data. Look at the home match. They've won every single game. This team here, Fenerbahce. Much can be said about the other opposition as well, but this looks great. This looks like your match. Now let's see if the standing is any good. Top of the game, not even in the top 8. This is a game that I'd bet Fenerbahce. Once again, guys, this isn't financial advice. This is just something that I do when I dissect matches and make a prediction on what I'm going to bet. Doesn't always work out, but it's about giving yourself an edge and putting yourself in a situation where you're looking at the numbers to give yourself an advantage. And this is flashscore.com.au. It's very useful. It's got all the latest sports. You can see, you can highlight and give yourself alerts when they're about to play. You can save it so it goes into your games and you can view it. And if you're betting live, you can look at the odds and make a prediction as well if that's something you're looking at doing as well. And that's it. Thanks for